Hello, this is Kate, and this is your weekly oracle card reading. So today I'm using the Goddess Guidance oracle cards, and the first card that we've got is Compassion, Kuan Yin, and this card says, release judgments about yourself and others and focus on the love and light that is within everyone. Okay, so I think with this card, the main message is all about being compassionate, particularly with yourself. So you can't really be compassionate with others until you're truly compassionate towards yourself. And so I think this week the challenge is going to be finding ways that we can be more compassionate towards ourselves. And part of this process is recognizing when we aren't compassionate. And so the card says to release judgments about yourself and others. So just kind of being aware throughout the week of any judgments that you might have about yourself. So you might have a judgment that you're lazy, or things aren't happening fast enough in your life, or you're not in the right place, or you're not hardworking enough. I mean, the list goes on and on about the ways that we judge ourselves. And so I think the challenge this week is just recognizing what judgments we do have about ourselves, and finding it in our hearts to be compassionate towards ourselves and release those judgments. And I think one other way we can do this too is noticing what the need is that we have when we're judgmental or harsh with ourselves. And I think a lot of the times people believe that if they're really hard on themselves that they'll do better. If they're really critical with themselves, that this just makes them work harder or achieve more. And whether or not this is really true, I don't know. I suspect that it isn't. And so I think the challenge this week is kind of recognizing why we're so hard on ourselves, and then maybe finding other ways that we can get that need met. So finding other ways to motivate yourself to do better rather than beating yourself up. Okay, so compassion is how we're going to start our week off. And then moving on, and we've got Irene, and she represents peace. And this card says, there is no need to worry. Everything is working out beautifully. So for those of you who are maybe a little worried about your futures, or you're not sure, where your next paycheck is going to come from, this card is just an affirmation to kind of let go of some of those worries and anxieties and know that you're going to be provided for. And actually, you can kind of take what the card says as an affirmation. So the card says, there is no need to worry as everything is working out beautifully. So even if you just say those words to yourself, every morning when you wake up and every night before you go to bed, and kind of have that as kind of a running affirmation in your mind, that can also help quite a bit of, if you have any kind of anxiety or fear coming up for you. And I also think that this card is really representing the importance of keeping your attitude positive and keeping your vibration very high. So I think sometimes what can happen is if we feel there's kind of uncertainty about the future, or we have certain fears, that we can kind of go into those fears, and our minds can kind of come up with worst case scenarios, and we can get into that kind of cycle of fear and anxiety, which just kind of spirals down and creates more fear and more anxiety. And so I think this card is just a reminder that you don't need to do that, that you can kind of by focusing on positive things and focusing on raising your vibration and not getting kind of sucked into that black hole of fear and anxiety. So definitely kind of being aware of that as you go through your week. And so just notice if you find yourself kind of getting into that way of thinking about things, about worrying about the future, worrying that there's not going to be enough food or not enough money. And see if you can try and turn it around, and pick a few thoughts that are more positive, and say your affirmations, and try to turn it around to get into that more positive, trusting state where you trust that everything really will be okay. because I think this card is saying that no matter what's going on for you right now, everything is going to be working out. And I think also, if you look back at your life, out of all the kind of disappointments and things that you may have had, quite often they tend to kind of work themselves out and to lead to new and better experiences along the way. And then our last card is Maeve, and this is the card of cycles and rhythms. And this card says, honor the cycles of your body, energy levels, and emotions. So I think the message of this card really is work with what you have, or start from where you are. So don't try to force yourself to be any different than you already are. So if you're, we all go through these cycles, like there might be a time period in your life where you feel very productive and very inspired and you have a lot of energy and focus. And then there might be times where you feel a little bit lost, like you don't know what you're doing and like nothing's really working out. And then you might have periods where you feel like you kind of want to retreat and not be so extroverted and out there, and you want to maybe be less productive for a certain period of time. And so we all go through these cycles of feeling inspired or kind of withdrawing, or feeling social, feeling not social, feeling like things are working out and feeling really prosperous, and then times where we feel like nothing's working out. And so what this is saying is kind of take advantage of wherever you are right now and make it work for you. So if you're at that stage in your life where you're feeling maybe kind of lethargic and uninspired, maybe try to do some things that you just really feel like doing. So if you just really feel like having a night in, or doing some kind of introspective exercise like journaling or art, kind of work with that and work with where you are. And if you're feeling like you have a lot of energy right now, maybe you're having a lot of creative ideas flowing, and a lot of opportunities and focus, and you can really kind of use that to your advantage and take advantage of that, and don't try to repress that at all, and really kind of go with the flow and go and kind of work from where you are, rather than feeling guilty that you're not being more productive, and just kind of accepting where you are right now. And I think the funny thing with cycles and rhythms is that we all kind of go through various cycles and rhythms. Very few of us are kind of the same, throughout our lives. We all go through kind of stages and phases, and there's definitely a kind of a process, a really cyclical nature to it. And it's funny because society seems to be set up in a way that kind of demands us to kind of be the same all the time. So it's sometimes a challenge to really honor the rhythms and cycles that we have. And it can be quite shocking for others when you maybe take time off work or take time out for yourself. But it's really important, I think, this week is that that you do honor the cycles and the rhythms of your body and your energy levels and your emotions. So just working with where you are and kind of noticing what your energy level is. And each morning when you wake up, you can kind of check in and ask yourself, what's my energy level today? And just noticing. Some days you might wake up feeling really energetic, other days a little more sluggish, and you just want to work with that energy level and don't try too hard to change it, because it will change on its own over time, rest assured. So just taking a step back and a look at the week, we've got compassion. So we're going to begin the week with being very kind towards ourselves, and then that naturally just extends out to being kind towards others. And then peace. So doing what it takes to make yourself feel at peace. So feeling really peaceful with where you are right now in your life, and feeling peaceful towards others around you. And then moving on to the end of the week is cycles and rhythms. So once again, just being very gentle with yourself, very peaceful, and just honoring what's going on for you right now and where you're at in your cycle or your rhythm, and just working from there. So this has been your weekly Oracle card reading, and I hope you found something in here that was helpful for you. And my name is Kate. Thank you so much for joining me.